In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this super cheap and easy tire changing bar. So if you own a manual tire changer, or have ever thought about owning one and not damaging your aluminum or chrome rims, keep watching. I'm going to show you how to build this. It's easy as crap to use and cheap. Look at that. Beads off. I'm going to show you how to do it with welding and without welding. So if you don't know a welder, keep watching. You can do it too. So longtime viewers of the channel will know that I've already built one of these before. It's right here. And this has absolutely no issues whatsoever. It's just a little complicated, and most people don't want to dive into the complication of it. So I thought, let's simplify it and make it easy for everybody. I'm going to do it with an actual duck horn. I don't know what you want, a duckbill tire horn. I'll put a link below to this exact one because there's a bunch of different models. This is the one that I think will work the best. And essentially, this is a mount and dismount bar. So this goes, in the tire machine, this comes down and clamps right here. And the wheel actually spins clockwise. And so essentially, this just stays stationary. But essentially, it spins counterclockwise. So all we're going to do is, on our manual tire changer, since our wheel is stationary, we're just going to mount a bar to it and move this counterclockwise and see if it works. Easy enough. Let's start cutting. Get some metal, do some welding, show you how to bolt it instead of welding. Easy enough. None of these measurements are actually crucial. I mean, you don't have to cut around here with anything. You don't need a plasma cutter. You use a zip disc and you can cut this off just a square chunk. You don't even have to cut this taper or anything else, but let's cut it out. So this is the pipe. This is just like a, this is actually from a trampoline, but it's the same like as fence posts, something else like that. This is what I'm going to use for my main pipe. If it's not strong enough, I can sleeve it, put another pipe inside. So essentially, all you got to do is attach this to this. But I'm going to do a couple different things, and this is where it's going to differ from welding and not welding. Now, if you were just going to not weld this, you could just set this on here and put a bolt. I would put a bolt, the head of the bolt would go here, up through here, bolt through the pipe, and then I would probably put 2 more bolts through here, or even a U-bolt, and strap it on to this piece right here. I'm going to do it a little bit different because I'm going to weld. I'm actually going to utilize this pocket. I'm actually going to take a piece of this pipe, I'm going to cut it off, and weld it to the underside of here. So besides having the 2 bolt holes here that hold this in place, this pipe sitting in this little pocket will also help locate it, and just, when you're pulling, it'll also put a little force. Not necessary. You could actually do it with the head of the bolt. You could stack up, when you put your, you're going to bolt straight through everything, you could stack up a stack of washers that fit in there beautifully and set the bolt down in a little bit, just so the washer's held a little bit. That's just kind of my idea. Probably overkill, but, you pull on these things extremely hard. So first thing I'm going to do is actually weld the little piece of pipe onto here, and then I'm going to drill my holes for my bolts so they're as close as possible. So right there, weld it. So I just got that loosely bolted, and now we can discuss this. And this is something I was anticipating a little bit. Is so the manual tire changer, you have the bar that goes up against, and this is what you push your bar against. And we have to go counterclockwise, so I need to be sitting on this side so I can wedge. So this has to be at some sort of an angle. I'm going to hold this flat against here and square. I'm going to weld this flat kind of at that angle. I could have made this tang kind of come off at an angle a little bit, but I figured it didn't matter that much. There we go. Welded the pipe to that. I mean, this is just scrap. this is just scrap. All this is scrap for me, except for this. This costs 20 bucks. I'll put a link below to the exact one that I ordered. So 20 bucks. Okay, it is barely above freezing right now. And this tire is 16 years old. So it is nice and stiff, and this is going to be a good test for it. Because this tire, you know, if you've done tires before, rubber doesn't like cold. And the older it gets, the stiffer it gets. So we're going to push this down into the well. And we're going to bring this down into here. And there's this little spot right here you're supposed to use. There we go. Easy as that. And then I should just be able to take my hip, get some stuff out of the way, and spin it off. Just like that. No scratches. No nothing. It fell off a little bit. I got stuff in the way right now. I got engines and stuff in my way. The inside bead. Let's try the inside bead. Same thing. Let's get this in position. Normally I'd start it up here. Just trying to stay out of your guys' way. Start right there. See if we can grab the lower one. And bring it up. There we go. And then let me just use my hip and just push it around. And it's working exactly like it does on the tire machine. Effortless. Nice stiff tire. Put it back on. We have to do a slight modification to it. So I did mount a tire with it, actually twice, but it has a little bit of a hiccup. You can see the angle that I have it. So ideally you kind of want to sit it level, but when you're mounting the tire, you actually come up a little bit and you can see that this, exactly, this leading edge wants to fall off this rim right here. So when you're mounting a tire, especially the first side, it kind of wants to fall off. And I think the shorter the tire, the harder, the more difficult it is. Where if this was a like a 17 or 18, 19 inch rim, it's actually a bigger circle, so I think it would grab these corners a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is actually just pie cut this and put a bend in it. Or I could just physically bend it, but I'm just going to pie cut it right here, put a bend in it. I had to cut through the 1/4 inch plate about halfway so I can be able to bend it, but pie cut just like that. And now, I actually have more of the same pipe with the little tapered end that I had originally, so that should fit in there. I should be able to bend it. There we go. Okay, you can see a little bit of an angle, and it looks like it's sitting, I'd put it, I don't know, roughly a 9 to 10 degree. Yeah, that's probably a level right there, 9 to 10 degree. But you can also see, let's see, it actually wants to fall off. You can see where this is just barely holding on to that edge. And now that I tip it down, I mean, even if it's all the way down, that's really gripping on that edge better. So let's go throw it on some tires, see what it does. There is one more little thing, and then it's these bolt heads right here. Before, I actually had washers underneath them, but then they stuck proud of these little ridges right here. So if this falls down, right now they barely don't touch the rim, but before I could have accidentally, like if this slipped off, that could have came down and whacked on the edge of your rim if you were going and did something. So you want to make sure that these are recessed below these little guard protectors. Okay, see, last night you can see I put this tire back on, so we'll do this 14 inch, and then I'll throw like a 17 or something else on there. With any tire change of the first side, I always just throw on. I'm able to, you know, if you've done this enough, you know you're able just to take the first side and almost always just pry it on by itself. But we're going to do it with the with this, because this kind of shows what it would be like if, you know, when we got the extra thickness of the tire. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. There, I got it started. And you guys are going to be in the way right there. Gonna move you guys. There we go. So it's kind of weird because it needs to be... Nope. See, my instinct would be to put it that way. But it needs to actually be under this side. And on top of this nub. There's the two nubs there. It's always easier. They sell specialty clamps you clamp on. They're really cheap. But this is just an old sidewall chunk and some vice grips. And what that's going to do, I use this with any tire changer. It just holds this front side down for you a little bit easier. And now I'm just going to chase this around. The vice grips just kind of hold it there so it doesn't want to keep slipping around. And then once you get it so far, you can actually, you just pop the vice grips off, you know, once it's holding. That's not bad. That's not too much force. Tires on. We could mount it up. Let's try a 17-inch. So my original bar that I made, you can still see the threads down here. This is just a 3/4 inch like plumbing pipe or gas pipe. And you can see that I have, the main part is made out of that, and then I have it sleeved with something just for strength because you bend on it pretty hard. And I just did this one out of this pipe right here, and I noticed that it was starting to dent just a teeny bit when I was bending it around. So to reinforce that, I just have a random junk piece right here that I'm going to slide down into about right there, just so where it pushes on that bar, you know, where it pinpoints, that it'll just reinforce it a little bit. So nothing major. We'll just slide that all the way down in, and then I drilled a little hole on the other side, actually pounded out the little dent right there. I'll just tack weld it in right there and we'll be good. Okay, this is essentially an old 32-inch tire on a 17-inch rim. Broken the bead. Get it up on there. This should be a load range, I think it's a C or an E. Definitely stiffer than a 14, but no issues whatsoever. Come on. There we go. And let's walk that around. There we go. Seems like the only place this really struggles is getting the first bead on the tire, because you got to kind of hold everything. But I never put the first bead on with the tire thing anyway. I always throw it on. If you don't know how to do that, and the larger the wheel, the easier it is. Just like that. Too bad you can't do that to the second side. But we'll throw the second side on. Up on here, down on the back side. So that's the only tricky part. Get a pair of vice grips just to hold it in place for a second. Just to hold that bead down. And it's not tight. I mean, I could put a piece on the bottom side too, but it's not tight. And then let's just walk that around. And once it starts going, the tire actually holds this. Is actually holding the shoe, the duck bill, against the rim. Ooh, we slid off. Good. Pull back a little bit. There we go. Make sure you don't slide that off. Make sure this is going down in that groove. You know, I might have a little bit too much of an angle on this bar, because as I'm pulling this backside, this side is touching, this backside is kind of floating away. So I might have been better to keep that a little bit straighter. We'll see. We can always modify, re-weld. mean, it's against it. It's also kind of rolling. My force is kind of wanting to roll this edge out. I could put a second bar just to keep the twist out of this. I guess as long as I'm mindful. I mean, no, it's there. Just got to be mindful not to, I guess, let that come out. It's in. It works way better taking tires off than putting them on. Okay, I did another modification. I noticed that I was kind of, you guys can't really see, but I wasn't quite, when this was seated in there fully, I was sitting about 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch away with my bar, and as soon as I flexed my bar, it would touch here. But I put a little spacer in there. It's about a, what is this, half inch spacer in here, just so I can put more force out here. I guess I should have, I think this angle could have been a little bit leading towards pushing on this side a little bit more, because as soon as you start bending, the plastic bends. But I did one more thing. This is a flat piece of steel. We're gonna try this. So instead of a round piece that can kind of just roll around on here, now it kind of, you know, it sits flat. So we'll see. So let's try putting that back on with the little bit of a modification I made. See if that makes a difference. Get down in it. Oh, it's pulling up just a little bit, but way better. Make sure this goes down that well. Okay, that's way better. I could even put a longer piece down here, but that was way better. So that could have just been this flat piece right here, but also just having it favoring this front edge where it hits this. So now, just for fun, I'm going to show you how long it takes to take a tire on and off. And I fast forward it for you guys just to see. Time. You can see that this does help. I've done about 20 tires on and off. I've done 20 tires, mount and dismount now. Just testing it out. This does actually help having a flat surface here. So if you use like a square pipe or something, it would actually probably work better than a round pipe, whatever you have laying around. But that does help keep it from rotating. So this is the bar that usually comes with these, and they just absolutely suck. They have an end that kind of lets you peel it on. Use it once in a while, but it sucks. This is the bar I built years ago, and it works fantastic for installing tires. This end right here with ball bearings and stuff like that, fantastic. Way easier to install a tire than this. This is still great, but the one I built, I use these ends again that are not fantastic at removing tires. This thing works fantastic at removing tires, but it does both. Installs and removes them. I think this is a finished product. I think you guys should build one, especially if you have ever thought about having a manual tire changer. This is a game changer. So I'll put a link to everything I use below, specs, angles of everything. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. Have a good one. Bye. Side of the road freebie. We're walking the dog. Heck yeah, let's take it home. But now we got to walk a lawn edger. Okay, let's go. Go ahead, you pull it, go. Nope, that didn't work out. We'll get there. Pull backwards. There you go. Hold on, slow down. Slow down. Slow down.